Welcome to the fifth in our five-part webinar series. The webinar series is part of our online component of our district conference. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Graham Davies, Governor of Rotary District 9685. Tonight's webinar is timely, Women in Rotary, as last Saturday was International Women's Day. It's an outcome of a breakout session that we had at our district conference, and they'll be reporting on the findings from that breakout session. But firstly, I'd like the opportunity to make a personal comment about this particular topic. See, diversity is one of the core values of Rotary, and 20% membership of women is certainly not equity, and it's hardly gender diversity. If we think about a minimum rate, say of 40% women membership, things can change dramatically. We often hear a core belief made in Rotary, which is family first, work second, and then Rotary third. Well, if we had 40% women membership, we'd immediately have family-friendly clubs. And if we had family-friendly clubs, we then have clubs that are attractive to younger Rotarians, and thus our future. So to me, that's it in a nutshell. Well, tonight we're fortunate to have a panel, and it's quite a technological challenge to our producers to bring the show to you tonight, because we have Kerry Kornhauser, and Kerry is joining us from Queensland. We have Jennifer Scott, past District Governor Jennifer, is joining us from Blacktown, and Jennifer's just finished presentation to a Rotary meeting there. And in the studio tonight we have Amanda Woods and Lynn Davies. So Lynn, I believe you'll be starting the show. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Graham. Tonight we're going to follow up on the District Conference workshop. We're going to share our Women in Rotary conversations, actions and initiatives with you. We invite you all to join with us to grow our membership and make Rotary sustainable for another 100 years. The more we work together, the better we will engage Rotary and change lives.
Have a look at this time frame. In 1881, Sydney University admitted women. Our country was the first to have women invited to vote and to stand for election. In 1902, now if we keep the same time frame, 25 years from now, 2039 is when we'd reach equity, 50-50 female to male ratios in Rotary. Can we wait that long? We think it should be much sooner. Men and women working together, like in every other facet of life. It's just how it should be. We need to make the shift.
Our actions to this point and our recent activities we want to share with you. If you haven't already joined our support network, the opportunity is there tonight. Just contact Ross or Anona Pierce. A workshop at Macquarie Uni, a Women's in Rotary blog, a survey for all Rotarians, a workshop at the district conference, an information stand at the conference, and an International Women's Day breakfast. This was held last Thursday at Castle Hill Country Club. It was a direct result of the work of the members of the Rotary Club of Norwest Sunrise Bella Vista, supported by Zone 8 Coordinator Philip Archer and our partners in District 9800, 9675 and District 9685. Thank you all. Norwest Sunrise Rotarians reached out to their wider community and the corporate sector with a clear membership strategy. Have a chat with President Martin Collins. He and his team are absolutely inspirational. A special thank you to our sponsors, Officeworks.
Officeworks is thrilled to be supporting International Women's Day as part of today's Women in Rotary event. As an employer with more than 6,000 team members, Officeworks values and promotes a respectful and inclusive workforce where the diversity of our people is celebrated and viewed as an asset. The benefits of an engaged and diverse workforce are many. Diverse perspectives provide for enhanced creativity, innovation and collaboration, all of which are key for organisations to stay competitive. While we honour the achievements of women today, it's important that those of us in leadership roles ensure that equality and diversity are enacted upon year-round. Officeworks is very proud to be a part of today's International Women's Day breakfast, and we hope you enjoy the event. Officeworks.
Interestingly, we found a lot of consistency in the views expressed in the workshops and the surveys that have come in to date. Women love to be involved or doing stuff. Women want to help their communities and other people. Ask them what their passion is and make it your business to help them realise their dreams. Mentor them over time. As DG Graham says, close the back gate and keep meeting their needs and the needs of all members. The need to realise that they're Rotary dreams too. Women don't only want fellowship, they want to be involved in doing things. Teamwork works within the club and teamwork in projects as well. Oh no, I hear you say, no boring committees. But women want to plan and work well together, especially when there's fun and sharing and when they can use their skills and they are valued. They like efficient use of their time as well. Collaborate with women. Women collaborate well together as well. Ask what they can bring to Rotary. Look at the gaps in your club's skill base. Education is important to all women, including those in developing countries. When women do embrace lifelong learning about Rotary and Rotary projects, they want to be up to date, ensuring they use best practice and embracing social inclusion. Women want to develop suitable projects, both locally and internationally. Leaders and Rotarians who just do what we've always done will be left behind. Do we want to leave Rotary behind? Communication. It's essential in all its forms, from a quiet private chat to a club communication to using social media. Women are great communicators and love new challenges, including the constant development in technology. Consider using text or professional interpreters to ensure good communication and a level playing field in some circumstances, and especially when working with other cultures. Look out for all of this at the International Convention, where there will be at least 6 languages spoken all the time. Respect. So often the language used when speaking to women, about women, or when joking about women is not appropriate. It can often be sexist, insensitive, tired, and quite unfair. Do Rotarians know what our laws say about discrimination? This is especially important in our multicultural community. It's never funny to tease people about their accent either, or their disability or appearance. The use of inappropriate language at meetings was raised so often and criticised throughout the surveys and workshops. The next generations of Rotarians are growing up learning inclusive values and attitudes. They live in different times, but golly, so do we. We're being inclusive when we genuinely hear, listen, and respect others.
Women want to be engaged. Women love to network. Well, that's no secret. Women love to connect to their local councils and community groups, such as Inner Wheel, Zonta, which is a female-based community group, and they love working together, exploring values and projects. Set up coffee meetings, drinks, morning meetings. Invite other clubs and networks to share knowledge and skills within Rotary. Reach out to our partners, such as local councils and local community groups. Image. Women like to look and feel good. We are not keen to be associated with the old and the tired ways of looking or of doing things. Perhaps introduce a marketing campaign to recruit women. Take Rotary to women. Don't expect women to come to your Rotary clubs. And we need to fix the gaps between Rotaract and Rotary. There are women-based projects. Maybe we need to look more into those, such as distribution of clothing, maternal health and food programs. Another thing that came up very often was flexibility. No one should be made to feel guilty or bad, because if they do, they leave. We need to look at flexibility in projects, in timings, meals and fees, and around the topics of critical attendance. For issues such as sick family members of any age, whether they be children or parents. Things such as work commitments, those who are away on Rotary activities or other projects. Members still need to be kept included and up to date. Perhaps look at cocktail parties instead of dinner, or maybe dinner after or before the meeting. Remember, retirees are also more mobile in our current world, with active families, leisure activities, holidays, volunteer work. They are all kept very busy. It is all about the times we live in, not how old we are. Another thing that may need to be addressed, policies and procedures. Now, we're not saying throw away the rule book. We want to separate habit from rules, however. We know that we need to comply with the law of the land, with Rotary International and their regulations. However, tradition for tradition's sake, we need to question some activities. Invite women to join, to connect with the local communities and to make a difference. Keep talking to them and provide mentors who will listen and hear with true empathy and support them as Rotarians. Make women feel welcome. Women want to be engaged. Now, here are a few photos of some local women in our district, women in action.
Now, we're going to switch over to the Skype. And first of all, we're going to ask Kerry to speak. Sorry, Jennifer, I beg your pardon.
Hello. Well, tonight I'm going to be talking about women as peacemakers. So, good evening to people in Australia and good day to the rest of the world. You see in the first slide, I have pictures of 3 women peacemakers. Nobel Prize Peace Laureates, Mother Teresa, Aung San Suu Kyi, and Tawakkul Karman. You may not know. She is the first Arab woman to win a Nobel Peace Prize, or any Nobel Prize for that matter. Karman is a co-founder of the Yemen-based organisation Women Journalists Without Chains. She advocates freedom of the press, and she has been part of the Arab Spring, but has done it peacefully. So, what is peace? We know that women take a broader view of peace that includes a sense of well-being, basic rights such as freedom from violence in the home, as well as education and health care. In contrast, men have a greater tendency to associate peace with simply the absence of conflict or formal government structures. Secretary General Kofi Annan pointed out, women who know the price of conflict so well are also better equipped than men to prevent or resolve it. For generations, women have served as peace educators, both in their families and in their societies. They have proved instrumental in building bridges rather than building walls. The World Health Organization estimates that each year about 700,000 people are killed by violence or die in armed conflicts around the world. Hundreds of thousands more are displaced from their homes or die from hunger and poverty that so often follows these armed conflicts. In addition to major conflicts, violence affects people, mostly women and children, in every corner of the earth, including Australia. Not only is the human cost of conflict devastating, but also impacts on political, social and economic development. It is one of the main causes of poverty in our world. There is an African saying, "The world is full of good people, but we remain in the shadows." So to do good in the world as women, we must step out of the shadows and stop being a bystander. Now we know peace is costly, but it is worth the expense. Rotary International, you, me, our clubs, we have sponsored over 700 Peace Scholar graduates. Many are women. A few years ago, I met a Peace Scholar, a young woman who was a clown, and I wondered why a clown as a Peace Scholar. She helped orphaned refugee children in northern Thailand to learn how to laugh again. Our latest Peace Scholar in District 9685 is a woman. Megzan Tamuri is from Afghanistan, and she works with national and international governments and NGOs in the areas of governance and peace building and conflict resolution, as well as women's empowerment. So, Rotarian women, well, we are mentors, teachers, nurses, doctors, dentists and peace scholars. We build practical peace. But see, first, peace starts with us. Our self-confidence, how we encourage and support other women. Women tend to be collaborative rather than competitive. We are resilient and we have the capacity to forgive. Within our clubs, we need to be inclusive. We need to stand up against bullying and humiliation that we see within our own voluntary organisation. The inappropriate sergeant sessions, where sometimes people are humiliated and we lose valuable members. We have to stand up against the cliques that make people feel unwelcome. Women are practical. We can mobilise our clubs and our communities. However, we need to find more women who will help build peace in a practical way, volunteer for projects or peace scholarships. The world needs Rotary, and Rotary needs women. I'll now pass you back to Lynn.
Thank you. Actually, Amanda.
Hi. Now, next generation, Rotary's future. The future is, in a word, diversity. Now, whether we're talking about age diversity, culture diversity, or diversity between the two genders, that's what Rotary needs. That's what the future of Rotary is. And what do we need to be for that? The word again, Lynn, flexibility. We need to be flexible. We also need to address our public image. Just one experience that I had, I'm looking at, we're chartering an e-club. I had a meeting with a local bank to discuss the bank accounts and the various setup. You don't need those details. But basically at the end of the meeting, the lovely young woman, who would make a fine Rotarian, looked at me and said, "You? Rotary? Don't take this the wrong way, but really?" And well, all I had to say to her is, well, no, I'm not the traditional stereotype Rotarian. But honestly, neither is Rotary. Rotary is above and beyond what people see as the traditional image. We have so much to offer the world. Women are a big key to that. And I look forward to the future. Having said that, I have to wave farewell as I'm off to another meeting. So thank you very much. I'll see you all soon.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you very much. Now, we're going to go back to the Skype system. And we're going to invite Kerry to come on board.
Hi all, I'm Kerry Kornhauser and I'm part of Women in Rotary. I'm living in Melbourne, but I'm in Brisbane today because I'm going to an International Women's Day breakfast tomorrow. But why do we need women in Rotary? I guess that what I think is that when every one of you woke up this morning, your communities were all 50-50, 50% men and 50% women. And what does Rotary do? It works within the community. As you can see on this slide, there is only 17% Australia-wide of all members are women. Now, I know in your district it is 20%, which is fabulous. But as Graham said, it's a far cry from 40%. And many people have asked me, why should we treat women differently? And I think the question is, and it's been answered worldwide in the corporate world, in everywhere, is that women are different, as are men. And what Rotary has done for the last 20 odd years, they haven't treated women differently, and that's why they're sitting on such a poor percentage. The time has come, let's approach it, let's change it, and let's do something different. Now the good news is that look at the volunteering of the trends there. Volunteering for women are increasing. Now how good is that? That is what we want to hear. Last decade it was men, but now women. Women are finally leaving the kitchen sinks. Women are actually getting out there and doing things, and they want to be part of the community, and they actually like to volunteer. And the other good news for Rotary is gender is actually influences where people volunteer. So we can actually see that women like to volunteer with community-based organisations, which is fabulous because I've been to quite a few Rotary clubs now and I haven't seen many of them running around the football fields or doing anything like that. So I really think is that Rotary is a community-based organisation. So we're ticking the boxes. Now we need to try and attract some women into the organisation. And I think some of the ideas that Lynn has been speaking about and Jennifer is that it actually is showing a picture of what we actually need to do. We need to try and get out there, talk to women in a different way. Why not have a project that is a woman-sensitive project in your club? It doesn't have to be a big project. It can be a small project, but it'll encourage women to want to come. And just one quick little idea that I had, and I'll just explain to you. I went and spoke to a peer of mine and said to them, why don't you come down to the women's shelter tomorrow? We're going to do some mentoring and maybe we'll just do a bit of sewing and give them some food. So she comes with me and she really enjoys the experience. And I said to her, tomorrow, what are you doing for dinner? We've got a fabulous speaker. Why don't you come? And she comes, has a great night, enjoys the speaker, comes back to me and says, wow, that was fabulous. What are we going to do? When are we going back to that women's refuge? So then go back now 2 steps. I go to another person at work and I say, why don't you come tomorrow? We're doing a barbecue at Bunnings and all the money is going to breast cancer. Do you know what she does? She puts her hand in her pocket, gives me $20 and says, give it to breast cancer. I don't like barbecues. I don't do them. And then I said to her, what are you doing tomorrow night? We've got a great meeting, fabulous speaker. Come along. And she says, I have meetings at work, at home, with my parents' doctors, with my kids' teachers. I don't need any more meetings. It's language. It's just plain little language. You change a few words and look what you can get. So I think that is what we're trying to do, the subtle changes of how we can approach women, get them to come in. Because once they're in, they'll go and do the barbecues. You know that and I know that. But let's get them in there so then they can go and do that. So thank you. I hope that gives you some ideas.
Thank you very much, Kerry. Thank you for your leadership and action in this initiative. It's amazing. And thank you again, Jennifer, on Skype and in your car. Wonderful. Your leadership too is stunning. I'd just like to say also, though, that are we sure that what young people and women don't have time for Rotary? Or is it more about Rotary becoming so valued by them and relevant that it moves up their priority list. I'd recommend that you look at Michael McQueen's book, and I know many of you saw him at the conference, Winning the Battle for Relevance, and the CDs he's produced for Rotary. Here's just a brief message from Lucy in the Congo. Lucy is also one of the people that was a driving force behind this whole event. Lucy has been involved in working in a city called Kinshasa, where there are 10 million people. And that Lego-looking robot there is one of the systems that they have to manage the traffic and keep people safe. The group of young people are there at the university, and they are learning about what sustainable community development is all about. She says, our team was so impressed and touched by the willingness of these young people to embrace new ideas as well as share their perspectives with us. So, our call to action says, join the conversation, invite everybody, join our team, connect with Kerry's group, Women in Rotary, spread the word and turn conversations into action. And finally, plan with us. Plan for an International Women's Day event next year. Start now. This is the time to begin. Look carefully at membership in your club and consider all the things we've talked about. And 40% representation of women in Rotary in District 9685. That's our challenge. Thank you. Now, I believe it's over to Les and questions from you.
We have a couple of questions. The first one that I'd like to pose is, how do we encourage women to step forward into leadership roles at both club and district level?
Jennifer, that sounds like one for you.
Yes. I think every person needs a mentor. If we have somebody join a club, we don't provide guidance, well then we can't expect them to grow. It's like any organisation in your own profession. You start and you want to learn more and become more involved. Women don't naturally put themselves forward to say, aren't I great? Choose me, choose me. We are more perhaps the quieter type where we want people to take us and mentor us and say, you will make a good leader, you are a good leader, please consider a role. So the key first is to mentor, to find out what their interests are, to promote their interests and their skills, and then ask them to take on a leadership role.
Thank you,
Back to
Jennifer.
you.
Is mentoring a topic that should be introduced into the RLI syllabus for both men and women individually?
Do you want to go for that one too, Jennifer, for the moment?
Okay, mentoring actually, and I'm a mentor to various young men and women in their 30s. It is not a difficult process. First, you learn your role. What is the role of a mentor? What is the role of a mentee? Because they're set roles, and it is a perfect topic that can be covered within probably 2 lots of 45 minutes. So you learn the boundaries, what to do, how to be a mentor, and also when you have a mentee, the person you're mentoring, you basically enter into a contract, not a written contract, but an agreement that you will meet regularly, be it by Skype or by email or at least once or twice in person. And from there, it's up to the mentee to maintain that relationship. I usually recommend an agreement to meet monthly for about 3 to 6 months, and from there on an ad hoc and as needs basis.
Thank you. I wonder, Kerry, would you like to comment on that question as well? I suspect that you've had some mentors in your relatively short time in Rotary.
Yes, actually I have, but they haven't been in as Rotarians. They've been actually outside in the workforce. When I first started this whole idea of women and being more women into Rotary, I thought we should have all functions and it should be women, women, women. But then I was pulled aside and been mentored about that. It's men and women need to be together and they need to learn to work together. And I think what Jennifer is saying is fantastic. So we bring all that whole mentoring together, and then we can all grow, which would be great.
Thank you very much. Les, are there more questions tonight?
There's a couple I'm conscious that we're almost ready to close, but should we be recruiting women into our clubs simply because they are women?
Kerry, that's a good one for you. Could I also add that if we run out of time, we can continue this conversation on the blog?
Yes, well, I don't think we should be just going out willy-nilly and just saying anybody should be a member, men or women. But I think what would be really good is if that we can open up that conversation to encourage women. So if you're looking for another doctor or a landscape gardener, why not consider a woman landscape gardener and go and talk them to come into the club, as opposed to always thinking about men. Last night on Late Line, they had the CEO of the Commonwealth Bank, and he said what we often do is that we employ or put on people that are the same as us. And what they are doing is doing a whole study training on unconscious bias. And that's probably something that we may need to look at doing as Rotarians, is that we spread out and become more diverse and try and get more women, more diversity into our clubs.
Thank you. Do we have time?
I don't have any more questions.
Did you want to comment about that one, Jennifer?
I think Kerry has summed it up very well. When we talk about diversity, we're talking about our clubs reflecting our community. So diversity of professions and skills, diversity of gender and age and ethnic background. We should just reflect our community. Of course, women are 50.5% in Australia. So that's why it makes sense to have more women.
Thank you. And now we're going back to Graham.
Well, thank you, Lynn. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen watching. I know that there are a number of clubs at club meetings tonight who have joined us, and so we do apologise for going over just a little. But I'd like to just make a concluding comment about this whole question that's been up tonight about diversity. The importance of diversity, whether it be gender, age, vocation, a whole range of diversity, is that it enriches the way we respond to problems. It enriches the way we go about thinking and solving the problems that we face in the world. And that's why it's so important to Rotary. And that's why it's so important to ensure that we increase the percentage of women in Rotary. So to our panel tonight, to Lynn, to Amanda who's left, to Kerry who's in Queensland, and Jennifer who's in a car in Blacktown, thank you all so much for joining us. And we look forward to everyone's company at another time. But in closing, on behalf of our producers, can I thank Bobby and Les, because what we've done with these seminar series is shown a different way of communicating, a different way of presenting material to Rotarians across our district. I think it's got a great future. It's going to impact on the way we do meetings as well as conferences. So thank you both to our producers. A wonderful job. They made this idea an absolute reality. Good night, everyone.